All up. Cool, cool, cool. All right, we should be live. Actually, messed up the little introduction here for a second, but today, man, I got a crypto OG in the space. Goes by Alex Lorenzo. Been in the space since 2015. He also was mining Ethereum at $3 as well. Actually, bumped into him this past weekend when I was going to the 2022 consensus event, and so we're going to be chatting today and actually kind of formally meeting in front of everybody and just see, man, how it goes, man. Talking about crypto and just how the current market is today. So, Alex, man, thanks for coming on, man. How are you, brother?
What's going on, man? Yeah, so Consensus 2022 was crazy, man. I met a lot of good people. We got Mike, the investor here. And, to be honest with you, what really caught my attention was that you said you used to watch my channel back in the day before the
Yeah.
mustache and before all the crazy. So I was like, man, I got to get on this channel. You seem like a really humble dude. So, I know our conversation was kind of small at the time, but I think this is a great opportunity for, everybody to see us meet and stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And if you are tuning in, I want to say thanks for stopping by. Please hit the subscribe button, smash the like button, and you can also, of course, Alex's channel is bigger than mine, but his channel is linked down in the comment section. So if you're unfamiliar, make yourself familiar with his channel. He talks crypto, entrepreneurship, mindset, everything, and he kind of tells it like it is. So either you love him or you hate him, is what he always says, right?
Yeah, it's basically just yeah, I mean, so the story is you kind of explained it to people. I was mining Ethereum at $3. So that's kind of part of the story. Like, so before that, I was actually, like, when I was younger, I don't even remember the age. I think I was like 17 or 18. And I brought like a business proposal to my parents because I was broke at the time, obviously, being in high school. And I'm like, hey, I want to spend $5,000 on a Bitcoin machine. And it was like, bro, I was so sketched out. I never ordered anything from like China before. It was like not a regular website. We had to install a 220-volt in my parents' garage, and they're like, no. Spanish parents are like, what the heck is this? Nah, not happening. I did the math, and I'd be worth like 500 million if we did it that day. So
Oh
that was kind
wow.
of the original story, but I didn't really take it as serious. I was lost. I was young, had a lot of distractions in my life. And then, moving forward, I actually got to a point where I was starting a couple businesses, marketing agency. I was used to flip iPhones, different things like that, just trying to hustle as much as I can because I dropped out of college. Because the teacher, like, look, man, look, I'm gonna be honest with you. Never picked up a book in my life, ever. Horrible at high school. But as soon as I found a passion, I read like at least a book a week. Like, I'm reading articles like at least 15, 20 a day. So that was what I was kind of going through at the time. And, making these different businesses and aggressively attacking entrepreneurship, I went broke like every entrepreneur. And I had $5,000 to my name, purchased a couple of Ethereum mining rigs, built them from scratch. I actually have video footage. I know a lot of people say they've been in crypto early. I got transactional proof. I got video proof. I got all the proof you need. And I was mining Ethereum at $3. But the crazy part about it is after it started pumping and I started making a lot of money, I was in a sales job in my first month. I cleared like almost 10K a paycheck in sales, and it was like I was like doing really good. And I took my whole bank account at like, I think it was like 20. It was an average cost of $20 to $40 Ethereum, and I just dumped it all in there and went broke. And I remember at my job, people were making fun of me, and they're like, "Yo, what is this guy? Like, this crazy dude?" And I told everybody. And then literally JP Morgan partnership with the Ethereum Alliance pumped that thing up to like 300, 400. And now we're sitting here, at one point it was like almost $3,000, 2,500. I don't even know the
Yeah.
price of these assets anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah, that made me a lot of money, and it started the journey of, becoming a cryptocurrency educator, and getting as many people into this space as possible. That's essentially what I've done for the past 5 years. So yeah, that's kind of like not the full story, but like, the short story, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. And so as you heard it, you was buying Ethereum back in 2013. And if I'm correct, or if I'm not mistaken, is that how you kind of made most of your wealth in crypto? Was it from Ethereum?
It was 2015.
2015.
Yeah, 2015. And so yeah, I made, okay, so here's the real story. So we had the cycle of 2017, 2018. And yes, I like, do the math. If you dump like, it was at the time 8 grand into Ethereum at an average cost of 25, $30, you would have made about like a million plus. So I made a lot of money, but then, I fell victim to some of the narratives in crypto, and I had to learn the hard way. And
Yeah.
you guys know some of these assets, they drop 90 something percent. And I hodled. So really, a fool and his money are soon parted. In my first cycle, it went from becoming a millionaire and then to losing it for the most part. Um, and
Wow.
then and then I spent, and nobody will tell you this. That's the thing. They're going to cover this part of the story up, but I know a lot of people that went through exactly the same experience I went through in the 2017-18 cycle. So yeah, go ahead.
So the question I have for you, if you don't mind being, and of course, share what you want. You're pretty transparent on what you share anyway.
Yeah.
But so when will you say that you really made like a lot of money and was able to keep it in crypto? Because I hear a lot of people as well. Like I know people that's been in crypto for as long as you have, and they say, man, it took me a few years to really make a lot of money and actually keep it.
Yeah, so it was this cycle. So really, like probably towards the end of 2020, when we had that big DeFi boom, I was calling some 100Xs. I called Matic. I got like a couple. You're in finance. I got in at like $200. Like, yeah. So I got like
That's
crazy.
insane.
Yeah, that this cycle I took it professional. So what happened was when I went broke, it was like sometimes though you have to take that L. I know there's a lot of people right now probably down, and I think this is a good conversation. Sometimes you need to take that loss. Sometimes you need to feel that pain. And the reason why is because it allows you to kill your ego and actually become professional at what you do. And that cycle, the 2018, when we went low, I started reaching out to different connections in the industry. I started talking to people with credibility. I started reading books like a madman, risk management, understanding cryptocurrency on a foundational level. I even to one point, I was trying to figure out how the actual code worked on Bitcoin and look into the history of all these things. And what I did is I developed a system and a checklist, and everybody should have something written down and the investment principles that they follow. And I'm sure you do too. And I use that system to actually make money this cycle and actually cash out, realize profit, as well as teach other people how to do it, if that makes sense.
For sure, for sure. And when did you feel comfortable, as in, going about, hey, this is how you do this, this is how you do this? Because we're going to get into, fundamental secrets as well. I want you to share a little bit on that and just kind of your whole mindset behind it, because you're real big on integrity, fundamentals, and having your own personal strategy and thinking for yourself. Rather you lose money in the process or rather you make money. You're real big on thinking for yourself. And so there's a lot of people in the chat talking about, hey, it's mooning because everything is green right now. So I thought I'll go ahead and put it up on the stream. But one thing I do want to say, man, I tweeted it earlier. I don't think the bottom's in. I think we're going to see, still some pump and dumps until we completely bottom out. And then another thing I believe as well is I believe once we hit that bottom, I believe we're going to consolidate for a while as well before we really start to see a true pump. Some people think we're going to see immediate bounce. Honestly, I think we're going to consolidate for a while. And the reason why I say that is because when you look at what's happening in the world, not just the US, but the entire world, you understand that we have to go lower, right? Look at how much has already been liquidated from the markets. Number one, you have the Fed, the government that's no longer putting putting liquidity in the markets. They're also selling the assets as well. What they do, pump almost 5 trillion from 2020 to now. Now they have to sell those assets. They have to raise interest rates. You have the supply chain. You have all these things that are happening, not to mention the war and everything else. So when all these things actually settle, then we can start to see things start to recover a little bit. And then one thing as well, I think is really going to be the trigger for us. And let me know what you think on this, Alex. I think once we see a true Bitcoin ETF, spot ETF that actually tracks the value and price of Bitcoin, I think that's when we actually see the flip. And when we actually know, when we start to move after that, then we know we're on our way up. I could be completely wrong, of course, but that's what I think.
That's pretty spot on. No pun intended. But seriously, like I think you hit it on the head. Now I'm going to explain the reasoning, and maybe it's the same reasoning you're thinking. But the spot ETF takes Bitcoin off the market. So if you could actually have a true spot ETF, then the most I think fundamental factor, one of the most, not the most, but one of the most fundamental factors is the scarcity element, right? This supply shocks, right? This is where you see on-chain metrics and all these things, and everybody kind of posting that about Bitcoin because that's one of its best features. There's just not a lot of Bitcoin out there. There's not. I think I forgot the exact number, but there's like 20,000 it was like 20 million millionaires on Earth, and there's only 21 million Bitcoin, right? So So just think about that, right? And I do agree. Actually, when they were coming out with the futures ETF, I was really mad that they didn't get the spot. And for obvious reasons, we want we want people at the end of the day, we want people to grab Bitcoin, take it off the exchange, and put it in their wallet, and sleep good at night. That's kind of the gist here. So I pretty much agree with that, man. And it's funny you're saying that. There's not a lot of people saying that the market's gonna. We haven't seen the bottom yet, and I've been screaming that. I don't think we've seen the bottom. I think the bottom is for sure 14 to 11K BTC. I don't know for sure. Like I know everybody's throwing these numbers out and they want to
Yeah,
act like
yeah,
they're the
yeah.
greatest ever. And oh, I called it. But like, look, man, I think it's noble when people just educate. Like, let's
Yeah,
educate, right?
yeah.
14, 11K. It's probably somewhere around there. I'll start DCAing, in my personal opinion, sub 20K BTC. Okay. That's what I'm doing. All right. That's when I'm gonna start my DCA positions. But I want to see a steep drop below 20K. That's what I'm looking for. I'm not looking for like the little gradual kind of go like 19K and then it pops back up. I'm looking for something significant, like we just experienced in the past couple of days. We're seeing a significant drop. I want to see that. When I
Right.
see that, we're gonna see mass panic. When I see mass panic, that's what I'm going to start DCAing. And then I'm going to start off with a small amount and increase my allotment size as we go down and as it gets more aggressive to the downside. And then I do believe exactly what you're saying. There's going to be probably a sideways consolidation. My time frame is going to be towards the end of the year. I'm thinking September, October, November. I'm not going to put a date on it, but I'm thinking towards the end of the year, we'll probably actually see a real bottom. And then we're probably going to get a parabolic move to the upside like Bitcoin always does. And all coins will follow. And we'll have this huge, big cycle like we've been experiencing pretty much every time. So, yeah, that's my official thoughts.
Man, I appreciate it. I appreciate it. And it's funny that we actually kind of similar in thoughts on this because we actually didn't speak about this behind the scenes. We got on literally at the last minute on this. So it's funny to hear that you kind of have that same outlook as well.
Yeah.
What do you think about the Fed hiking the rate,
Great.
hiking interest rates, 0.75%?
Yeah. So we had like a little live stream. I don't know if you did that, if you do that, but we had a live stream with FS, my fundamental secrets in my group, and we always do it with every Federal Reserve meeting. And here's the gist. Okay, it's like I'm gonna probably make this analogy a little bit better, and I'll put it in some videos. But it looks like this, right? If somebody got a gun to your head, right, and then I don't know, somebody has a knife to your throat. There's a gun to your head and a knife to your throat, and you have to make a decision to please one of the sides. What are you gonna do? That's essentially what the Federal Reserve is doing right now. They can make up all of these things in these cover stories like rate hikes, et cetera, et cetera. I'm going to lower inflation. But at the end of the day, it's bad if they lower inflation and it's bad if they increase inflation. Because remember, at the end of the day, this is like a legal Ponzi scheme. Now, I'm not going to get too crazy, right? I don't know how much you've educated your audience on this. And I know it sounds like you know exactly what you're talking about. But this is a show. It's a charade. It's a charade. And this guy has been paid millions of dollars to go on a stand and basically say that he has the answers. But really, at the end of the day, he's shivering in his boots. That's what it looks like. So personally, maybe lowering inflation is a band-aid method. I just think hawkish Fed policy is bad for risk on assets as a whole, including crypto. And that's the general consensus. The increased inflation gives me confidence that they will stay hawkish. And if they stay hawkish, this is not good for all risk on assets. And unfortunately, crypto falls in that category.
I agree. I agree. So overall, you feel that even with them keeping them trying to control inflation, they already actually stated publicly, hey, we have no way to actually control all of this, and we have no way of actually knowing how all of this is going to affect in the future. In so many words, that they've already said that. So that tells us we're going to see unexpected things happen in the future. And so with so much already being taken from the crypto market, us reaching under that 1 trillion, how low do you see us going? Because I also want to talk about, you got in crypto extremely earlier than I did. I got in crypto back of March of 2020, back when Bitcoin was 3,000 and 5,000 is when I
Yeah.
got into crypto. You
Yeah.
got in back in 2015, 5 years before me.
Yeah.
And so what are some things that you learned from the couple bear markets that you've been in? And then also, what are some things that you learned from the first bear market, but the other bear markets help make it sink in a little bit more, I guess, so to speak?
That's a really good question. All right, so here's the deal. You got to first. I like to educate people, so I'm going to speak in context of, maybe some newer people to expert people that are in crypto, depending on how much time you've been in the market. So this is one thing I've learned: no ifs, ands, or buts. Everyone says trade without emotion. That's true, but I like to flip the script. I say trade with emotion, but do the exact opposite of what your emotions tell you. Does that make sense? So if you've been in crypto for less than a year, okay, and you don't know anything, when you are in massive panic fear mode, like I'm talking about, you think crypto is a scam in your head.
Yeah.
Your family and friends are telling you, what are you doing even worrying about this anymore? Give me your money, give me the money that from your wife is telling you, take the money off the exchange, right? Like all out panic, like I'm talking about, you really think it's a Ponzi. That's probably the best time to buy. That is the one thing I've learned. Last bear run did it. It got scary, man. It got so scary. I was in the market in 2018. I was in the market for 3 years, and I was still panicking and fearful, like so fearful. When Bitcoin did that like last massive drop, I forgot the exact thing. It was like towards the end of 2018. It was like this last massive drop, and I remember the moment. I'm in my car and I'm like, yo, I just told everybody to invest in a Ponzi scheme. Like I'm literally thinking that to myself.
Oh wow.
And then I flipped it and I was like, I got mad. I started selling. I sold my laptop. I sold some other things on eBay and I started buying the heck out of the dip. And it ended up playing out very well. So if you're brand new, you could trade with emotion, but do the exact opposite of what your emotion tells you. When you are super happy and you're willing to tell everyone, you can go in the middle of the street and start telling people about XRP or whatever coin you like, right? When you're in that mode, take profits, right? When you're telling everybody and you could literally, like when you walk up into a party and you can't wait to get into the party because you're going to tell 3 people about crypto, take profits. That's when you take profits. When you're scared and you're like, oh man, like it's going to go to zero, that's when you buy. Okay. So this bear run, it's going to get worse. We've already seen things that are worse than last cycle, to be honest with you. Last cycle, it was just like BitConnect was like the worst. And then like the Bitcoin dump was like the worst. We saw Luna. We saw a coin lose its peg and almost go to zero. And then they forked it. Like it's crazy. We see Celsius going offline, right? Oh man, it's crazy. I do think it's going to get worse. And I'm not that scared right now. I think it's going to get way worse as Bitcoin comes down to 14, 11K. So if you're already scared, like just bear with us. Like I know you seem pretty calm and content right now. But Mike, you're going to get scared. Like I know even you're going to be like, I made this whole YouTube. You're like, I made this YouTube channel, man. Like what the heck going on in my family? When your friends call you a scammer, that's when you know it's time to buy. You know what I mean?
Speaking of that, man, let me address this comment. Yo, I'm not sure if you're a woman or guy, but you were telling us to buy Tron. Okay. Show me where I said buy Tron in any of the videos, please. But you were telling me to buy Tron like it was the next biggest thing just a few days ago. Now look at it. Your knowledge is poor. Hey, I'm sorry you feel that way, but if you literally go and listen to the videos, tell me where I bought Tron. What I did was educate you on current news that is coming out about the project. Now, if you bought the project based off of me talking about it, or if you bought a project because Alex talked about it, if you bought a project because another YouTuber talked about the project and you made money, it's your money, your decision. You made money from it. If you make $1 million from it, are you going to give me $1 million? Are you going to give me $500,000 of that? It's not going to happen because it's your decision. Crypto's a solo sport. You made that decision. If you invest 1,000 and you lose it, that's on you as well. You made that decision. I never told you to buy Tron. What I did was educate you on the situation. Yes, I believe in Tron. Yes, I'm invested in Tron. So I just want to address that, man. So, hey, sorry you feel that way, but things are probably going to get worse.
It's the influencer dilemma, man. I deal with it all the time. It's
Yeah.
like you gotta, like whoever that
Like,
person was, like you don't read the title and the thumbnail. Like you gotta listen to what the person is saying, right?
exactly.
You could put a Tron video out, but maybe you're just educating them on the situation, that's what it sounds like, and you never said anything about buy. The problem is just because we make videos does not mean we are buying. That is completely separate. And then, the second thing, yes, you need to invest in your education. It's as simple as that. You need to read books. You need to listen to the entire video, sometimes listen to the video twice, right? You need to make your own decisions. All the things that people don't want to do, that needs to happen if you want to make money in crypto. I don't know any other way. There is no other way. If you are listening to somebody else and that is the catalyst for you to click buy, you already lost.
I agree.
You lost. I'm sorry, but like the fact that you even put that comment out is a clear sign that you were just listening to Mike the investor about how to invest, which to be honest, it's good, but like you got to make your own decisions. You got to make your own decisions. He is a source of information. That is all we are. We are sources of information to start your journey. But when you click buy and click sell, you got to take 100% responsibility for every action that happens in your life. Simple as that.
Well said. Well said. Appreciate you.
Yeah.
But yeah, how am I feeling, man? Hey, bring the questions too, man. If y'all got any questions as well, man, the real OG is on this show right now. He's been in the space way longer than me, way more knowledgeable, millionaire made in crypto. You know what I mean? So this is the guy to really ask, like, if you feeling down or feeling like, how do you navigate through this?
I want to ask you a question while they come up with some questions, if you don't mind me.
Yeah.
So,
What's up?
so what's up? I know a lot of people like to ask the best one. What's your worst investment?
Man, worst investment?
One where you're like kicking yourself in the butt, like, oh man, like I messed up.
Man. So does this include like investments that I did risk capital with, or investments I just really
Yeah,
believed in and didn't really?
risk. I'm talking about degen play, like you knew it was probably bad, like you know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay. So probably Mononoke, because I lost literally all the money I put in there. Literally, it's at $14 right now. No
Yeah,
lie. Like no lie, man.
yeah,
And so, but yeah, it's all good, man. It's all good. I put risk capital in there, but
yeah. Hey, everybody takes their L's, bro. Like
yeah.
I think a lot of people talk about their wins too much, and I think in the bear run, like it's probably the time that we could all come out with our losses. So yeah, there's been times where I've invested in rug pools. I mean, I've invested in what was that protocol? I think it was called Pickle Finance. I was yield farming like 2,000. Like it was a couple grand. It wasn't that bad, but
What
they
blockchain was it on?
they didn't rug, but they got like a liquidity drained and attacked, and I lost all $2,000. Like
But isn't that what it always is? It's either an exploit, liquidity drain, it gets hacked, or rug pull. I mean, they're all kind of like in that same gray area.
yeah, it's true. A lot of people don't want to say it too, but there's probably more losses than win under my radar. But the wins make up for all the losses. That's the beauty of crypto. It's an asymmetrical bet. You put in the money, yeah, you might lose 100% of your money, but the upside is that of 10,000%. That's the point. Like people don't want to say this, but in crypto, you will likely lose more than you win. But the wins make up for all the losses. It's called risk management. This is risk management 101. This is how it
Yeah.
works. But it's not talked about, and the narrative's not out there because everybody wants to make themselves look like a god, and it's getting people wrecked. So that's essentially what I'm trying to explain is like, look, I took every loss under the sun, every loss under the sun. I've taken everything. So I just want to like for the people right now, if you're at a loss, like it's okay. The whole point is that your experience is growing, and just like we said in the beginning, like if you just stick it out, anything you stick out is going to work eventually, and you will make money eventually.
Yeah. And so, question here from Bill Zachary: will Joe Biden and Congress regulate crypto to the point that it's not a good investment anymore? And I got a question to say about. I mean, I got something to say on this as well. The elite don't want poor getting people richer relatively fast, and they have to keep the poor people poor. Man, said a mouthful. So,
You can go first. I'll go second.
pulling that back up.
Yeah.
This is what I think. I think we have 3 to maybe 5 years max to make like really life-changing wealth, like multi-millions of dollars. Because I believe once it gets completely regulated, yeah, you're still going to be able to make money like in the stock market. And I still think crypto will give you a little bit better gains. However, I think once it gets fully regulated to the point, a lot of the wild west that's in crypto now will be gone, which is going to limit a lot of the gains that we're seeing now.
Yeah, I think like if any market maturing, it's always going to limit gains no matter which way you cut it, regulation, law of diminishing returns, any way you cut it. Yeah, the bigger the market gets, that's the whole point. That's literally the whole point. It's high risk, high reward. So like the smaller the market, the less regulation, you'll probably make more money. But yeah, so from what I'm looking at, I think they have to regulate it at this point. Like there's no way around it.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's going to kill all the gains. I mean, if you look at like it could be, you could look at it from a regulation standpoint, but I look at it from an education, like how many people know about crypto or understand it. And like, how many people are in the chat right now? Does
109 says 109.
All right, so I'm gonna do a little poll. Put ones in the chat if you know how to use a decentralized exchange or MetaMask. If you know how to take your funds off of centralized exchanges, put it on MetaMask and go swap on Uniswap. Put ones in the chat. Put twos in the chat if you don't know how to do that.
Hey, I'm putting a one for y'all as well because I definitely know how to do that, man.
But I just did this poll with my group, and it's like people, they don't even know how to get off of
Really?
centralized exchange. Like I don't know if you see my recent tweets, but I'm literally like, yo, like you guys don't even know the foundational basic get off centralized exchange thing. Like, you know what I mean? So the point I'm trying to make is, although they're regulating it, there's still a lot of people that don't understand it. And I know a lot of rich older people that don't even want to understand it. And there's a long way to go. So it's still going to be, in my personal opinion, the greatest asset class in the history of all mankind.
By far.
It's never gonna stop. It's gonna, until it's like completely adopted on planet Earth, which could be like 40, 50 years. It's still going to be the most lucrative. So yeah, I mean, let's not get greedy. Everybody wishes they bought Bitcoin in 2012 or 13, like, of course, but it's still going to be a lot of gains, and the NFT world's going to be big, and it's still the biggest push in all of mankind, in my personal opinion.
Yeah. So what's your take on NFTs? I haven't heard you really talk too much about NFTs.
Yeah, I just think they're a little bit too early. I understand them. I understand why they're valuable and why they're not valuable. I get the whole culture thing. I really do. I own NFTs myself. I have not a crazy collection, but I have like about a $25,000 collection. And the problem I have is that with anything new, like if you look at last cycle, like it was way scammier last cycle. Like the ICO bubble was like super scam mode, like the worst it can get. It got a little bit better this cycle, and there was like more value generated this cycle with DeFi and like altcoins. Definitely more value and definitely some innovations. So NFTs to me are kind of like last cycle. So it's just a little scary. And it's hard to talk about and promote. But like, remember, it's like a super early thing. So like, if you want to play with it, like play with it, but like, there's a good chance you'll lose everything, like for real, with NFTs. And they're not. And another part I hate about NFTs, they're not liquid, man. They're just not liquid.
Yeah, because you can't just sell them. You don't have just a market you can sell them to, like for crypto. Like you really have to depend on someone else to buy that NFT. Whereas like with crypto exchanges or aggregators, you already have a spot that's ready to grant your sale or whatever it is,
Yeah, there's market makers and coins, but there's no market makers with NFTs. I mean, they can call themselves market makers by buying all of the NFTs, but that's not a market maker. So yeah, the way I look at NFTs is that they're great. I love the innovation and everything, and some of them will win, some of them will fail. But I want you to think about like the most degen like meme coin play you've ever had, and probably take it a couple notches down. So if the risk of a degen play is like an 8 out of 10, then maybe NFTs are probably like a 10 out of 10. Like it's a little bit, because you just can't sell it, and there's so many risks involved, and it's so new. So it's like the degen of degens, if that makes sense, when it comes to NFTs.
Would you say this is safe to say, Alex? The NFTs that are still here after, the smoke clears, those are going to be extremely valuable, extremely expensive. Do you see that?
Yeah, just like,
safe to say.
Yeah, just like ICOs, like there's going to be like 10 collections, 20 collections, like a minority that will last, and they will be dumb expensive. Like obviously we all kind of know, right? Punks, they're going to last, right? Bored Ape Yacht Club, Mutant Ape Yacht Club, these things, I'm cool with that. Like I'll buy that.
Yeah.
Like if it gets, but they're expensive still, even like at the floor price, when like if Bitcoin goes to 11K, they're still going to be worth like $50,000, $70,000, $80,000. So the average person can't buy it. But yeah, like there's going to be blue chip NFTs that will win for sure.
Gotcha. So if there's anything you would recommend for people that's coming into the crypto, because even me, I think things may get a little bit worse than when I got into crypto. And so when I got in, I got into crypto literally the end of the bear market, and had no idea that was the end of the bear market going into, the rest of 2020. And so you got people who got in the end of 2020, 2021, and this year. And those people who got into crypto have never experienced a bear market before. And so to experience probably one of the worst in crypto history, what would you say to them as in coming into the space or already being into the space, being, in crypto as long as you have been?
Yeah, so there's a lot of answers I can give right now. There's the PR answer, right, where it's going to be short, sweet, and to the point. Like, hey, educate yourself, right? Like I could say that,
Yeah.
and that's probably true. And no, it's not probably. It is true, but I'm gonna try to get a little bit deeper. All right. So when you first come into crypto, there's always going to be assumptions made. Like, for example, when you first learn to tie your shoe, you first got to figure out what a shoe is. Then you put the shoe on your foot, and then you tie the laces. But first, there's like a foundational understanding of what your foot is and what a shoe is, right? You have to know what it is first. Like,
Right.
you have to know what it is. Now, when you're developing education in crypto, it's kind of the same thing. You first have an understanding of what a coin is, and then there's all these assumptions that come after that that kind of define what your knowledge of a coin is. You really have to be careful where that education was defined. If you are defining all of your knowledge at the top of the bull run, like, oh, a coin's going to be revolutionary, it's the greatest thing ever, it's going to be super innovative, and like all of these assumptions you're making is like seeping into your memory, you're going to get wrecked. You're going to get wrecked bad. I recommend getting all of your education at the bottom of the bear run and then staying true to whatever allotment of education or knowledge that you gained, staying true to that as hardcore as possible throughout the whole bull run. Don't change. Don't change. I remember, last cycle, I was like, man, these altcoins were gonna I knew they were gonna drop 90%. I've always known this. But when we get in the top of the bull run, it's like, oh man, it's like I want to buy the new altcoin. I'm over here vouching for. I'm like, it's the greatest thing ever. I want to tell people, but it's like, still, I knew it was going to drop 90%. Right? That's the point.
Yeah.
Is like you have to keep that same knowledge from the bear run. It's almost like playing both sides. It's like you don't want to be late to the show by not investing, but you have to understand for real what you're investing in. You have to really understand it, and this is how you could take some good profit and stuff like that. Long story short, educate the heck out of yourself on different levels, but remember the bear run is where the true innovation is made. So whatever you learn in the bear run is probably the closest thing to the answer, if that makes sense.
Hey, well said. And you kind of answered this question, but he says, OG, do you think there's going to be a short bull run by the end of the year?
I mean, look, this is a timing question. That's hard. I think we'll see the bottom towards the end of the year. I don't think it's going to be a bull run. I think it's probably more likely a little bit into 2023. We'll see. And it depends on what you mean by bull run too. I think what you mean is like a parabolic rally up, like maybe like a upswing in price. I think the upswing in price is probably more likely to happen in the beginning of 2023.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I think you're big on ADA, if I'm correct. What
are
your thoughts on ADA? I saw Alex tweet a lot lately about Cardano. So yeah, let's talk about it.
Yeah, so although I think Cardano is probably going to come down in price just like every other altcoin in the market, I'm thinking 15 cent, 10 cent. Even though it's coming down in price, the thing about ADA that I like the most is this cycle we saw a lot of layer ones, right? And all of them were pretty much duplicates of each other. They're all like essentially just like carbon copies of Ethereum with like little features here and there, nothing foundationally different. There were just like, one of them sharded, one of them would have higher transactions per second. One of them, you get the point. Like they were all essentially carbon copies. Well, not all of them, but you get what I'm saying. Like they were very close to Ethereum. The reason why I like ADA is because it's foundationally different. Instead of using the accounting-based model, they're using extended UTXOs, which is actually very similar to Bitcoin, which is a UTXO. So it's just a foundational difference. So it's not that I think extended UTXOs are the future. That's not what I'm trying to say. But what I am trying to say is that it's not a carbon copy. It's novel. And when it comes to cryptocurrencies, that's one of the biggest defining factors is novelty, collectibles, things that are different from the rest that can maintain a community. And obviously, the ADA community is huge. If not, I think it's probably bigger than, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but I think it's probably bigger than even XRP, which last cycle, it might be. I don't know. I don't think I have any numbers to back that up, but
XRP, if we got any XR people in the chat, they're gonna let us know, man.
Yeah, last year XRP was by far the biggest community, and I'm talking about besides Bitcoin. So So maybe Ethereum community might be the second. So it's like Bitcoin, Ethereum, and then there's obviously a whole bunch of other communities. XRP was definitely the third biggest, and then I think maybe ADA took that spot. Or if it hasn't, I think it will eventually. So obviously, community is a big thing in cryptos.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And I'm also curious to hear what you think about this. Don't ever think you ever talked about it, but I'm just curious to hear your honest opinion.
Mhm.
Hip Hop West TV, what about BTT New? Well, I mean, you got to be a little bit more specific on your question, but we're kind of in the bear market. We're also, what, 6 months in of the new protocol launch. So, I mean, we're still extremely early. Launching that protocol, they didn't launch it in the the bull market. They launched it on a downturn of the market as well, so you don't have that momentum on your side. So I'm not. Give me a specific question on what you mean. Are you just talking about performance? Are you talking about what's going on with it? Because there's definitely been catalysts and news. So yeah, let me know exactly what you mean. But what do you think about BTT or the BitTorrent chain? Alex, give me your honest thoughts, man. Whether you hate it, you love it, or whatever it is, man, give it to me.
To be honest with you, I haven't done enough research to have an official opinion, but I know they've pumped a lot. BitTorrent was that old streaming service, right? Or whatever. What was it called? The peer-to-peer service.
Yeah.
And I think they're created by the same people, if I'm not mistaken. I haven't done enough research on it. It's
I
another
understand. I
yeah, it's
understand.
another layer one, right?
So BitTorrent, so it's two different use cases now. So the first use case was for decentralized storage, which is still active and current. And then the second one they launched in November. Mainnet launched in December for the BitTorrent chain, which is pretty much just a cross-chain interoperability layer 2 to move assets across, network to network very fast for less fees. It's pretty much what it is. It's almost like another Nervos network, if you know what that is,
Yeah.
but not the full thing, if you will.
Yeah, I haven't done enough research. I apologize for that one.
No, man, it's all good, bro. It's all good. So Susie Gemini says H bar XRP XLM
Y'all killing me.
Link
Y'all
V
killing me.
Chain Gala Matic Quant. Good afternoon, guys. First time listening live. Much love back to you. Appreciate you coming by. We got Patty Murphy, bigger than XRP. LOL. XRP is the standard. I told you, man. They gonna let us know.
That's funny. Yeah, look, I gotta just kind of say blanket statement. All altcoins, man, it's gonna be hard right now for me to say anything positive. I don't care what altcoin it is.
So, are you holding any altcoins through this bear market at all, Alex? Any?
I've been out of the market for like 2.5 months.
Okay. All right, man. And you know what? It was hard for me to understand why people like you at times would completely just get out the market. And now actually kind of being in crypto a little bit longer, I get it. Because I mean, hindsight's 2020, but you don't know what you don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Look, I mean, I got harassed. Look, I got hit from every angle, but like, man, look, my goal here is to be. I used to have a saying where I'm like a profit maxi, but that recently just changed. Now I'm a freedom maxi because profit just equals freedom. So it's actually, if you want to go to the foundation, really, I'm a freedom maximalist. So that sometimes it comes with making the hard decisions, which trying to call the top, selling, and then telling everybody about it is going to be one of the hardest things you could ever do in your life. And yeah, I always say take profits. Take care of your family, take care of your people. That's important. And of course, that comes with not investing too much. Like hopefully you didn't ape your whole net worth. Mike into the market. Hopefully you didn't do that.
No,
But
I'm good, man. I'm good. I got some. I'm good. This is probably why I'm so calm, to be honest with you, because like I made a video late last year and I said because of what's going on, I stopped buying into crypto as much and I started putting more money into actual stable coins because I knew what was coming. Like I literally, I've been talking about these things affecting the market since late last year. Like, you know what I mean? And then people like, oh no, we're still gonna pump, or oh Mike, you're doom and gloom. And now here we are, right? And it's like, hey, I was just telling you guys this so we can all be prepared, right? So it's easier to deal with once it happens. You know what I mean?
I agree. Look, it's like I said, the minority of people actually get out alive. The minority, like I'm talking about 1% get out alive. So, it's the hardest thing to do, bro. It's the hardest thing in the world to do. Is call the top and try to get people out. So
It
yeah.
says for Alex, thoughts
Yeah.
on Chainlink. Last bear did well and has staking coming up in CCIP this bear. Does it have a chance to get back to the top 10?
Look, I know like a lot of people resonate with communities and they like to ask like specific questions about alts. And although I think Chainlink has a lot of development, they got a lot of funding, a lot of backing by a lot of people, huge ecosystem, all of the great things that Chainlink has. It's going to fall victim to the same thing every altcoin is going through right now, which is probably a 90+% drop. Do I think Chainlink's going to come back? Look, I'm going to be real. There's some altcoins that were top 5 last cycle that did not come back. So I can't make that statement. I just don't know. I just know this is why I've been talking about ADA, because if there was a coin I'm a bet that's going to come back, is I just really think it's probably ADA. So there's a couple of others, but I don't know. I don't think Link falls in that category. I'm just gonna make the official decision. It could come back, but I don't think it's gonna be like top 10 significant or top 20 significant. If you ask me, to be honest, I don't think it is.
So even with Link being one of the top oracles in the space as well. So let me ask you this. Do you think it's just not going to be a top 10, or do you still think it's going to be a relative oracle in the space when the smoke clears?
It's gonna be relative oracle, but I think like it's overvalued. Like to be clear with you, I made about a 45x on Link, so I made a lot of money. And when it got to top 10, I was like, gassed out, get out. That was me. I was like, get out. It's gassed out. It's overhyped. Like, think about it. It's an oracle solution. This is like a back end developer thing. Like it shouldn't be getting this much hype. So yeah, I think it's gonna be relevant when it comes to a service in crypto, but when it comes to market cap evaluation, that's a different game. It's all about the narratives. It's about what's narratives, and Oracle narrative was great. It was big, but it was not the strongest narrative. It was not even close to the strongest narrative. So, does Oracle narratives come back next cycle? Well, here's another one that was a narrative that didn't come back. Litecoin, the trader's coin. Litecoin tracks Bitcoin. So when Bitcoin pumps, Litecoin pumps exactly after. That was the narrative from last cycle, and that never came back. So, yeah, it's all about the strong narratives, and there's a couple that are really strong. The extended UTXOs in Bitcoin, extended UTXO layer 1. The layer 1 narrative super strong, super strong. That's always going to come back, right? So we know certain things. Play to earn, probably, yeah. It looks like it. It really looks like it, but that's like the weakest one, I think. And then obviously NFT, very strong narrative. That's definitely coming back, right? DeFi, obviously, very strong narrative. That's 100% coming back, right? But the Oracle narrative, I don't know. I like, that's a hard one for me. And personally, if you were to ask me to bet my money, I would say no.
Gotcha. Do you think the Oracle is far mature, is why we won't see as much probably narrative or growth from it because of how much it's already came along?
Yeah, it's probably that. And also coupled with the fact that it's not perfect and very expensive on Ethereum. So like, I know they're going cross chain, but like, knowing I not only run a coaching program, but I actually have a data and analytics website called coinpix.io. So coming from a person that actually buys data for a living, I buy data and I repurpose it for our website. I'm not buying it from Chainlink. It's way too expensive. And everybody's kind of in the same boat, that most people just get it from centralized exchanges. So like, I can get into the crazy deep detail. There are people that do want to buy Chainlink data, and it is good for them. But I think the Oracle solution is much bigger than we think, and they have already claimed multiple times that they have not solved the Oracle decentralization issue. And maybe they solve it. I don't know, but again, like you have to place bets, right? And right now, when the market's dumping, I'm gonna go with the best guaranteed bets in my eyes. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So kind of leading up with a question for you, man. Alex, what's the best time to start accumulating? I probably know what you're going to say to this, but
yeah, towards the end of the year, man. Towards the end of the year. Honestly, it's very simple. Find your favorite altcoins, go to the top, get a ruler. Go down 90%. They keep like, everybody asking, what about this coin? What about this coin? I was like, man, like, just do this and you don't need to ask me anymore. Go down 90%. That's the best time to buy. Or you could think about it this way. When Bitcoin goes sub 20K, start buying the coins that died the worst. It's that simple. So timing is a hard question because I don't have an Oracle ball. I wish I had an Oracle ball. I wish I could tell the future, but I don't. So when it comes, I'll be more confident. It's going to be probably towards the end of the year.
I hear you. Probably towards the end of the year. Don't hold them to that because we're not financial advisors.
Yeah, man. I don't know for sure, man. I just know what I know, and I don't know what I don't know.
Right. And so thoughts on Soul, man. I don't think Soul's going anywhere, me personally, besides, I mean, the network congestion and issues of it shutting down. I mean, definitely not something you want to see as an investor and just as a developer either. But I definitely think Soul is still going to be a major coin in the space. What do you think about that, Alex?
I think it would be a major because everybody pumped in all the VC capital, but yeah, they go down too much. They go down too much, and they're centralized as heck. There's no on-chain
Super.
metrics. They're super centralized. They're like one of the worst. Hopefully they don't come for me for that. But yeah, they're basically I called the congestion like multiple times. I made multiple videos saying that they're gonna go down again, and they did, and they went
Yeah.
down again. Even when everybody was pumping it, and like their whole success was from Degenerative Apes NFT collection. If you look into Soul, they got real parabolic growth in users from an NFT collection called Degenerative Apes that was pumped by basically every major VC and big money person in crypto. And then ever since then, it's been like nothing. So it's obviously going to be big because everybody big behind it, but I prefer other layer ones. I prefer other layer ones.
I think that's going to be major. I think that's going to be the one of the universal bridges for everything. I think in the next 5-10 years, there's not going to be a chain that moves that don't cross across dot, in my opinion.
I agree. I think Dot and Cosmos was kind of similar to like layer ones in 2007. Like layer ones were just getting light in 2017,
Yeah.
and then this cycle they were huge, obviously. So like I think this cycle we saw the narrative of like the cross chain, like Polkadot and Cosmos. We saw it a little bit, and the next cycle they're gonna hit. Next cycle is gonna be a hit. So yeah, Polkadot's a winner for me for sure.
Definitely, definitely. So, man, do you got anything else you want to cover, man, with just, all the craziness going on, man? We got crypto dipping. I mean, it's back over 1 trillion now, but I think we're going to probably dip back under that trillion, in my opinion. I think we're just typically when Jerome Powell speaks Fed meetings, we see the pump, and typically we see it dump a little bit later. So we'll see what happens.
Final thoughts, man. Look, it's a hard one. It's hard from every angle. But we're gonna see a 95% dump with most altcoins, 90+% with every altcoin, in my personal opinion. If Bitcoin drops 90%, which I think it's if Bitcoin drops 90% from its all-time high, it's getting below 11K, which maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. But if you look at history, Bitcoin has dropped more than 90% every single cycle. And I don't think this cycle is anything's gonna change. So, be careful, protect yourself. That doesn't mean sell, that doesn't mean buy. That's not what I'm saying. If you can't make decisions for yourself, that is obviously the most foundational thing. All that money you got in your bank, like everyone, all the money you got in your wallet. I don't care if it's your entire net worth. Your education is by far way more important than every penny you have. And the reason I say that is because if you took away all my money right now and all my resources, I'd become a millionaire by next cycle. Guaranteed. Like I just know for a fact.
You got the
Because
education.
I have the education. I know
Yeah.
exactly what I'm gonna do. If I had no money, I'd just go Postmates and Uber Eats as aggressively as possible to buy the dip, or I would go get funding from somebody and just buy the dip. Like it's easy once you know,
Right.
and I know, and everybody's focused on like the dollar amount, and that's great. But like the thing that they can't take from you ever, like everybody worried about, oh, I got my keys, get it off the exchanges. Yeah, but they can torture you and take your keys, right? But the thing they can't take is your knowledge and education. They can never take that from you. That's the thing you go to the grave with, right? So it's by far the most valuable thing you could ever do is invest in your education and know who you are as a person. And that's all it is. That's, in my personal opinion, the greatest thing, the greatest asset ever. And it's what got me to where I'm at today.
Well said. Your education, your education. I got one question because I think this is pretty cool. Patty Murphy, isn't regulation coming and knocking off all the junk out except for 1% left? How do you feel about the ISO coins? Because there's quite a few. Do you think those are somewhat safe to go into that are kind of been like got the green light somewhat from the government?
I don't have, bro. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't care what the government. It's a world current. These are world currencies. So
Yeah.
what the United States does is not. It's all about the narratives. Bro, look. All right. It's very simple. We had ICOs, then that got regulated out of existence, and then what happened? We had DeFi, right? This DeFi thing is the same thing as an ICO, but they just give it to you for free through an airdrop or liquidity mining now. it's essentially the same thing. So even if they regulate out, there's going to be coins that get around it with some new mechanism that gets around the law. So I don't think regulation is the end all be all. And I think every single altcoin is going to struggle, in my personal opinion. It's hard to say that, but I think it's true.
Yeah. I mean, I think we're going to definitely see a very rough time. And as I mentioned earlier, I think we're going to consolidate for a while too, which technically isn't a bad thing because I mean, that consolidation is where you accumulate your quantity. And
Yeah.
so if you haven't followed Alex yet, man, he talks about pretty much everything. Go ahead and hit that follow right now on Twitter. You can check out his YouTube channel. Down in the description, he has over 170,000 people. He has, and also, man, let's talk about fundamental secrets too, man, because I told you I do want to talk about that so people can just know what's going on because you have a passion for, helping people make money. So, what is fundamental secrets, man, for the people that don't even know about it?
Yeah, it's just coaching. So I have a couple of people I've vetted myself that understand crypto to a deep foundational level. Sometimes I have coaches, they leave my coaching and they go get hired at a hedge fund because of the level of education. But essentially, it's everything I've ever learned in my life in video format, that for obvious reasons I can't share on the internet.
Yeah.
And then we have live Q&As, pretty much basically membership quality content. So you get face-to-face interactions with actual coaches that can like just tell you what the deal is. A lot of times people just need someone there with them, right? So that's all it is. It's just the same principles I preach in this video and all of my videos, but in this group where the deal is clear. Like you go to these free groups sometimes, like these coin groups, and I'm gonna teach you how to get into crypto. It's free information, but it's like that's not really free. Didn't your mom, like people don't like the paid thing, but it's like your mom told you there's nothing free in life, right? So they're getting paid. They're just getting paid in a different way that you don't know. With me and you, the transaction is simple. You pay me, I tell you the complete and total truth, and that's basically what it is. Just a paid group. So nothing different from what you've seen in the industry. If that makes sense.
Yeah, so I mean, hey, there you have it. It's in his Twitter bio. Go ahead and give him a follow if you haven't already. Alex, I want to say thanks for coming on to the channel, man. It was pretty dope meeting you, man, at the party, man. So yeah, pretty laid back as well. And just to be transparent, man, Alex had no idea who I was.
Yeah.
And I was watching, like I said, I was watching you, I think like before you had 50K subscribers. And I said, man, I was telling my camera guy, I said, man, that's Alex, man. I said, millionaire in the crypto space. He said, you probably don't know who I am, but I'm going to say what's up. Because I'm not one of those guys that's like, oh, you're a YouTuber, I can't go say what's up. It's all part of networking, right? Because if I never did that, we wouldn't be having this conversation now. And
That's
so,
true.
yeah, man, just wanted to say, appreciate you coming on. And we have to do this again soon, man.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys for having me on the channel. Follow me on Alex on Crypto, and I'm sure we're going to do more live streams, and I'm going to show you the ropes of the industry, man. So hopefully you're ready for that.
Let's get it, man.
All right, cool.
All right, appreciate y'all, man. Hit the smash button, hit the like, follow Alex, follow me if you haven't already, and we'll see you guys at the top.